Hello. Good morning, good afternoon. We're going to look at chapter 11 in the vocabulary workbook. So I am aware that some people might still be trying to get their books, and I think some of you do have the vocabulary workbook. In general, I'll assign a chapter in the workbook, and you'll see when you have the book that there's homework to do in the workbook. So usually for each chapter, you'll do about 3 pages of homework, and I think you'll find it pretty easy. And what I'll have you guys do is I'll assign the homework. You'll do it either in the workbook, or if you don't want to write in your workbook, you can do it on paper in a notebook. And then I'll post one of these videos where I'll review the homework, and you should check your homework and correct any mistakes that you may have made. Okay, and then after that we'll have a quiz. So it's pretty important that you have the opportunity to check your homework and fix any mistakes. If we were meeting in person, we would go over this homework together. So you would show me that you did it, and then we would go over it together and you guys could fix your mistakes. But we're going to do it like this since we're doing remote instruction. Okay, so this is chapter 11. We're starting in chapter 11. And the workbook is called Groundwork for a Better Vocabulary. It's the 5th edition. I hope you guys have the same edition as me. And in my copy of the workbook, this chapter begins on page 64. If for any reason you discover that your pages are different, please let me know. All right. Okay, so in the homework, you're going to notice that each chapter is pretty much set up the same way. So I will usually assign the first 3 pages of the homework. And that will include sections called 10 words in context, matching words with definitions, and then on the 3rd page, there's usually 2 sections called sentence check 1 and sentence check 2. So we'll start with the 10 words in context. All right, the first word is assume. The way the book is set up, they're always going to give you a list of 10 words for a given chapter. They will then, for each word, give you 2 example sentences. So they're showing you how that word is used in a sentence. And then they ask you to figure out the definition, the meaning of the word. So assume. I assume, in the book it says, I assume George was telling the truth, but he wasn't. And then I made up my own sentence. I assume that a delivery person was here because I just found a package outside my door. And then they ask you, does assume mean A, to fear, B, to forget, or C, to believe? Well, it means to believe. If you assume something, you believe that that thing is true. Number 2, conscious. In the book it says, I don't think Theo is conscious that he sometimes seems very rude. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so ill-mannered. I made up my own sentence. I became conscious of the smoke detector chirping, which means it needs a new battery. So, does conscious mean pleased? Does it mean aware? Or does it mean relieved? Well, I hope you picked B. It means aware, that you're aware of something. Number 3, external. The external appearances of the 2 houses were similar, but on the inside the homes differed quite a bit. I tweaked it a little in my example. The external appearances of the 2 purses were similar, but inside one had more pockets and compartments. External means outer. Incredible, number 4. The moon landing of 1969 was an incredible achievement. Incredible means hard to believe. Internal. The internal temperatures of the Earth are very high. Deep down in its core, the Earth is more than 10,000 degrees. Internal means inside. Maximum, 300 miles per hour. is the maximum speed for this airplane. It can go no faster. Maximum means greatest. Okay, so that was number 6. Now we're going to go on to number 7, protest. So in the book, they give the example when the builder attempted to cut down the 300-year-old tree, a group called Protect Our Trees showed up to protest. And then I made up my own sentence that's to do with things that are going on today. This summer, millions of people marched for the Black Lives Matter movement, protesting against racism in all 50 states. Protest means to complain. It can mean to speak out against something or to speak out about a problem. The other example they gave in the book is, "Stop it," Billy's mother protested. "You can't pour blue food coloring into the mashed potatoes." So I hope that for the answer that you picked C, to complain. Number 8, remedy. Grandma's remedy for a cold was to wear garlic around her neck. It never cured her cold, but at least no one came close enough to her to catch it. Drinking a glass of water or breathing into a paper bag are 2 remedies for hiccups. Remedy means, well, does it mean memory, treatment, or main cause? It means treatment. Spectacle. Circuses were once filled with spectacles, from chimpanzees riding bicycles to elephants wearing party hats. Spectacle means an unusual sight. Verdict. So this is number 10, verdict. In the book, they say the mechanic's verdict was that the car was too badly damaged to fix. My example is the jury members reached their verdict. They found the defendant not guilty. Verdict means a decision. So it is used to refer to the decision that a jury or a judge would come to in a court of law, but it can also mean an important decision that someone has come to in making a judgment about something in another area of life as well. Okay, so now we're going to look at the section called Matching Words with Definitions. So in my book, this section starts on page 65, and it's the second page of chapter 11. And again, once you have your books, our weekly routine will be for you to do the homework in the workbook ahead of time and then check your answers here. Okay, number 1, a cure, something that heals. Did you choose the word remedy? That's the answer. Number 2, unbelievable, amazing, extraordinary. Did you choose the word incredible? That's the answer. Number 3, aware of something, noticing that something has happened or is or was happening or existing. Did you choose the word conscious? Number 4, outer, located outside. The answer is external. Number 5, to complain, express dissatisfaction. The answer is protest. Number 6, a surprising or unusual sight, a public display or scene. The answer is spectacle. Number 7, to suppose to be true or take for granted. The answer is assume. So when you assume something, you suppose it to be true, you take it for granted. I have never been to the moon, and I'm certainly not an expert on planetary geology, but when I look up in the sky at night, I assume that that's the moon I see. Number 8, a decision or judgment. That's a verdict. Number 9, inner, located inside, internal. Number 10, most, highest, largest possible. The answer is maximum. Finally, I'm moving on to sentence check 1. And here I'm just spot checking this. I'm not doing every single one, I'm doing some of them. So when we talk today, if you have questions about any of the ones I didn't go over, you can certainly ask me then. All right, number one, the Grand Canyon is the most something sight I've ever seen. It's amazing to consider just how huge it is at 1,900 square miles. Well, it's an incredible sight, right? It's hard, when you see it, it's hard to believe because it is just so vast and amazing. So it's incredible. Number two, do you think there will be a good something for the COVID-19 virus sometime this year? Remedy, do you think there will be a good remedy for the virus sometime this year? And if not this year, then I hope very soon next year. Now I'm skipping ahead to number five. The something part of a banana is its peel. Well, that's the external part. It's the outer part. Number six. The student smiled happily when she heard the instructor's something on her project. This is excellent work, he said. Okay, well, the instructor is making an important assessment or judgment, a decision about the project. It's his verdict, right? Number seven, rather than something it would not rain on our big family barbecue, my parents rented a large tent just in case. Well, there the word to put in the blank would be assume. Rather than assume it would not rain, my parents rented a large tent. So they decided to be careful and prevent disaster from happening, right? So rather than just assume something that might not happen. Number 10, as Nikki tried to study, she became something of a loud drip, drip, drip sound from the kitchen. She became aware of it, so that means she became conscious of it. Okay, so when you are ready to take the quiz, you'll find that there's a quiz called Chapter 11 Vocabulary. When you log into the quizzes and tests in Blackboard, you can scroll down to the bottom of the page. It has a tendency to just sort of list the quizzes chronologically. So usually the most recent one is going to be at the bottom of the list. But you can also access it from the announcements because every time I create a quiz, um, Blackboard generates an announcement about it as well. Okay, so I guess you'll take the quiz either before we talk today, or maybe you'll start it and save it. You can decide based on how things are going for you. All right, talk to you soon. Good luck.